Works. Should I repeat from the beginning or just from the point where I invited Pavel to talk? All right. Tell me when you'll be live. Okay, guys. Hello once again. For those who didn't hear what I just told during the stream, I'm just was telling how excited I am because of this hackathon we had, which is Semantic Search Hackathon. And today we'll have a stream to listen to pitches from for the best teams. And I will just quickly remind you that we had over 1,700 people building over 7 days right before the Christmas. And now we had a really good time to check in all your projects. And we're really proud of you that you was building such amazing apps during this time using Cohere model and multilingual semantic search as well. And out of 34 submissions, we chose 4 the best, and you will be lucky enough to listen to their speeches today. And also, just a quick reminder that it's the open talk, so you can ask and to ask teams as well. And now I'm inviting Pavel to tell about LabLab, and maybe you want to announce some updates. Pavel, you're welcome to the stage.
Yes, hello everybody. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. It's a pleasure to be here today. And thank you once again to Cohere, who was supporting this event. And obviously not only supporting the event, but has put a tremendous effort into developing a foundation model that allows us to create a truly new era of software. So we strongly believe at LabLab that transformers and artificial intelligence in general allows us to create software in a completely new way. And it's a shift in the system. It's an aircraft carrier that brings in change. And now, if you're joining the stream, if you join the event, then you're on board of that aircraft carrier. And the projects that you build together with us and with Cohere are really the change makers, right? So anybody that builds today with AI is really building the future Silicon Valley, but they're building it out of the comfort out of your own home. And you can do it anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter what you've done before. What matters is, can you learn to use these new AI models to create software? And obviously, it's great to have people that have tremendous experience. We have some really, really experienced people during these events, coming from top global companies, coming from top global universities, researchers, or students, or business professionals, professional coders, and everybody is welcome to our alliance. So when you join LabLab, you not only build, but you also find people that you can build with. So the core of the activity is to meet great people from around the world, connect into teams, and really create some real innovation. And this is what we love to see. So we love to see teams that are coming from different perspectives. They have different experiences, different levels, and they can truly create something very innovative, and ideally connect multiple models into a solution that really solves a problem and brings value to a user set. I would like to invite you, if you join this event, to the next Cohere event that's happening in less, I think, than 2 weeks, right now. So you will have a chance to use all of the cool playground elements from Cohere, all of the models that Cohere has, and it will be an event truly for the people that wants to use all of the capability of the systems. So it's not directed on any specific capability. It's not a search, or it's not, generate art or whatever. It's really about building products right now. And to that extent, we will be soon, hopefully, welcoming people to build more advanced elements of the prototypes of the products, moving them to MVP. And too soon yet to give you an official announcement, but I think you should be excited and I think you should stay tuned, right? Because any minute now, any day, you will be able to join something even more exciting together with LabLab. So thank you very much for that. And it would be great to hear from Roy or Sarah a little bit of Cohere as well and their perspective on the future of AI. So yeah.
Thank you, Pavel, for your short speech. And I also want to invite Cohere as our lovely partner and people who are really sharing the same values as we have in lablab.ai. And I would be happy to invite Sandra now to the stage to talk. And maybe you have some words to tell before people will start their pitching and answering their questions regarding projects as well.
Sure. Thanks so much for having us and for making this event happen. It's a pleasure to collaborate as always. So, folks, we are super excited to see all the amazing demos that you have built using our embeddings and also using our latest multilingual text understanding model. We're particularly excited about those. We are developing this technology with a lot of overcoming a lot of hurdles every single day to make it better and better and to make sure that it's fun to use and it's easy to use and also to learn from you on what kind of stuff can be built on top of that, because seriously, this is a big educational experience for us as well. We love to see your creativity. We love to see how you're exploring and thinking out of the box in terms of using embeddings, using semantic search in all those different applications. So super thrilled to be here. If you find yourself interested in exploring more of a long-term work on your particular project and you need support, please reach out to me or Roy. We are more than happy to connect you with mentors to see how we can help support you further in terms of credits, etc., etc. We are more than happy to help you out further on the journey. So keep grinding if you're into it. And yeah, I guess without further ado, I hope you continue exploring our API. We will be back with a couple of events this year together with LabLab, so stay tuned, and I hope we will see each other soon.
Thank you, Sandra. And I see that people in the chat love that they love being creative with Cohere. So thank you so much for writing to us. And guys, I don't want to wait anymore. And I'm really excited to see the first presentation from the team Semantic. I see that the team is already on the call. So we are looking forward to hear your pitch. And after that, also to have a Q&A session.
Hello everyone, we are Team GigaChats and here I'm presenting Semantic, which is developed for the Semantic Search AI Hackathon powered by Cohere and LabLab AI. So let's begin. Semantic is a tool that helps you semantically search through any YouTube video by understanding its context using the transcript of the video. Let's start by talking about the problem statement. Imagine you are learning something new from some awesome creator providing his content in video format on YouTube. You know the content is excellent, but you only want to know a specific thing about that set topic. The problem comes when you have to scrub through hours of video content just to find the 2 minutes of information you require. It takes a lot of manual work, which is very time consuming and may discourage the user from consuming that content altogether. This is the problem we are trying to target. Our solution: Semantic search through a YouTube video based on user's query. SemanticTube can provide relevant information required by the user rather quickly and reliably. It can also provide multiple instances of said information through a very long YouTube video, which is way faster and more reliable than manually scrubbing through hours of video content on YouTube. Here's a basic diagram explaining the simplified version of how SemanticTube works. So basically, there's a web front end through which the user interacts with the application. Step 1 is the user enters the URL of the YouTube video he wants to search through and a query of what he's looking for in the video. The form is submitted, a request is sent to the backend, which is written in Python and using a Flask API to handle all the requests. It requests the transcript of the YouTube video and returns it to the front end. And then the front end sends another request to the Flask API with the transcript and the query provided by the user. And then on the back end of the application, uh, requests to the Cohere API are made, and we get the final result back from the backend API and is displayed on the web page for the user to look through. And so here's a little demo demonstrating how the app works. So this is a little home page we built for the application. So let's get started. So here's the main UI through which we can interact with the application. So we can enter the URL of our YouTube video that we want to search through, or there are some example videos right here that we can use. So this is an interview of Elon Musk. We can semantically search through the interview. So let's see what is the future of Tesla according to Elon Musk. And looks like we have some results with us, and this one seems to be the most close. So we'll click on this and the video will reload with the timestamp. Click on play and let's hear it. And as you can see, he is now talking about electric vehicles and supposedly about Tesla. So that's the basic working of the application. Similarly, it provides other results as well, which it thinks are closest to our query, which was the future of Tesla. We can click on any of the buttons or blocks here to play the video from that timestamp. But we have to manually start the video, just like that. So what more do we want to improve for this application? The most important thing is to improve the speed and accuracy of the search, as it can provide inaccurate results sometimes. We want to keep that at a minimum. Other improvements include searching through multiple videos or a complete YouTube playlist at a time without compromising the speed or accuracy. We may also be able to add support for searching through any audio video file instead of just YouTube videos. And here's the team behind Semantic. We are a group of talented and enthusiastic students with a passion for programming, problem solving, and all things tech. We are always excited to take on new challenges and push the boundaries of what's possible with technology. And lastly, we would like to thank Cohere and LabLab AI for providing us with this great opportunity. Peace.
That more and more we find the information and learn from YouTube videos. Every single day, there's like a breadth of human knowledge and wisdom that can be found in videos that's sometimes hard to get back to, or just like basically it's hard to drill down any particular subject when you're short with time. So I think it has a big, big application in everyday life. Kudos to you for making it happen. I wanted to understand whether what you're trying to do is to apply the semantic search to a particular video and look for this concrete information in the particular video, or look for particular information across a channel, or look for particular information across the entire YouTube. How does that work right now, and how do you envision that in the future?
Thank you very much for the question, Sandra. So basically, right now we can only search through one long video, but we are planning so that we can search through whole playlists or channels maybe. But that will require some more work. So that's in the works, and hopefully we'll implement that too. But right now we can only search through one video. Like basically, you have videos of courses of 10 hours longs, 5 hour longs, or even 2 hours longs. So it's hard to find the information you need within a short time frame. So the idea is that you can easily search the information you require through text form.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Thank you.
And
Any more questions?
a question for me. So first of all, really good idea, obviously, and great execution. I love the initial design of the interface already, right? Because it looks very advanced, very productized. So can you tell me how much time did you spend during, because we had a longer hackathon, right? So we spent 7 days. So how much time did you actually kind of spend as a team between the different components? How much time did it take, to prompt everything, to code the back end of it versus design the front end and make it, so user friendly?
Thank you very much for the question, Paul. So basically, it took us 4 to 5 days for the whole thing before the testing phase. We started with different ideas. We have a lot of ideas planned, but this one seemed the most applicable, so we went with it. So our team was consisted of 6 members. We had Umar. He was basically the designer who designed the front end, and kudos to him. He designed such a good interface in a very short time. And we have Etisham and Jahazib, who are the Python developers. So we basically divided different modules to different members. So it took us 4 to 5 days to implement the whole thing. I hope that answers your question.
It does. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. I really love this project, and also like from how the web page is being built, like it looks like it's ready to ship at any time from a marketing standpoint, right? It looks visibly like appealing as well. So, and chat is also really like enjoying your project too. So great job on that. I am interested to know like what would be your future iterations? How would they sort of look like? And yeah.
Thank you very much for the question and the compliments, Troy. So basically, the plan right now is to make it more scalable. Right now, it is very like the performance isn't the best, is it at its very best. So our goal is to improve the performance because performance is very important part of the user experience. So we plan on improving the performance, the time it takes to search through videos, and improve the UI as well. Right now, it's working, it's in a good shape, the UI, but it's not very user friendly. We are working on the design, and it will be ready within like few weeks, and we'll update the design too, so that it is more accessible to users. So that's the plan right now.
So thank you.
Thank you, Roy.
Okay, so another quick question for me, just very quick. What are the next steps from like your perspective on how difficult will it be to design the functions to have multiple videos? Meaning, I imagine that you want to upload a channel, you want to upload a library, like lectures from Stanford, from MIT, whatever that would be, right? Or like a whole year of Elon Musk or Joe Rogan or whatever. Yeah. So what are like, how do you design that back end? Did you guys consider it? Did you think about it? How you do it? The next step for you?
Yeah, we considered it, but the main pain point was the performance. Like more the videos, more time it take to search through it. So we are trying to fix that issue so that multiple videos can be searched through in a short time. So right now, it search for the video, scrapes the data from YouTube, and then made another request to get the transcript. So it's not very performant right now. It takes 2 or 3 requests to get the whole thing done. So we're trying to improve that. Once we get the request down, then it will be easier and faster to search through the whole videos, playlists, or maybe whole channels. I hope that
Okay.
answers your
Let me
question. Yes, Alicia?
Let me ask also regarding your challenges during this hackathon, because I see you had really a huge team, and I can imagine that you have different time zones as well. And what was the biggest challenge in terms of team management during this hackathon?
The biggest challenge I would say was to like incorporate the task between the team members, because we had 5 to 6 members and we all had to work on different tasks. And the main challenge would be, I say, to work like as a team on different modules, and make sure that all the modules fit in. So that was the biggest challenge. But thanks to Cohere, it was very nice experience using the Cohere package, the API. So it wasn't that hard for us. Like, we basically overcame all the challenges as a team, and all of us were from the same time zone, so that wasn't a very big issue for us.
Thank you so much. And before moving to the next team, let me answer to all the questions we have in the chat, not for team, but for us probably, regarding the hackathon. I see that there is a question regarding should the design be ready like before the submission, and as well should the product should like be ready to market. And the answer is, during the hackathon, you need to build an MVP of the product, and the better it will be and the more ready to launch, the better for your project. But still, it's not obligatory to have a ready to market product in 7 days. So no worries regarding this. And as well, I have a question: is it necessary to show your face on the presentation? Also, it's not obligatory, but it would be better for us to know with whom we are talking, right, during the pitch. And also, I see that somebody want to have a feedback on their project. And guys, Nasty will contact the team that just wrote in the chat, and we'll redirect your submission and to your contacts to Cohere to give the feedback to. All right, and now I'm ready to invite the next team, which is Pod Search. I hope guys already also here, and they will be able to their feedback and also to answer the questions regarding project. Welcome you to look at the presentation.
Hi, this is Info Insiders. I'm Nirmal, I'm a data scientist, and my teammates are Mike, he's an ML engineer, and Jimmy, he's a front-end developer. So what we built is a product called Pod Search. So podcasts are an excellent source of knowledge, but they can be too long and hard to pay attention to it the entire time. So what we built is an intuitive way to search for podcasts and also for information within the podcast. So how it works? So for searching the podcast, we first summarize all the podcasts and then get an embedding using the summary. The podcast itself can be really long, so we uh, split it into different multiple chunks and then concatenate all the summaries and then uh, get an embedding for the chunked summaries. So and then we when a user inputs a query, we embed it and then retrieve the top podcast from the index. And next thing is searching within the podcast. So each podcast consists of multiple dialogues. So we use the individual dialogues and then embed all the individual dialogues. So given a query, we embed it and then find its cosine similarity against all the other dialogues and then return the top dialogues that has the answer. So that's how searching within podcasts work. And then next, the sometimes the dialogue itself can be really lengthy. So let's say, for example, a single person itself talks for a really long time, and can be hard to find the answer from within the dialogue itself. So what we do is we either find the span of the answer within the dialogue, or summarize the dialogue so that the user can easily find the answer by himself. Summarization part is pretty self-explanatory. We just use the generate API to get the summary, and for span, we first sentence tokenize all the dialogues, and then embed all these sentences, and we get the queries embedding and get its cosine similarity with all the other sentences, and then return the spans which contain the dialogue. And so next, let's say we have a podcast, no, and the user has not listened to it. So there's no way user can tell what he can expect from a podcast. So what we do is we just simply give some queries uh, that the podcast answers. So for that, we just take each of the dialogue present in the query and then use this prompt to generate 5 questions that can be answered by the following passage. So after we do that for each and every dialogue, we encode all the queries and compare it again all dialogues, and then we display only the top 10 queries. So those queries are those queries that are being answered by the podcast. And then so with the queries we had, so what we now have is a training data where which is a pair of a query and a passage, and all of them are positives. So this is the training data format. And for negatives we just used hard negatives. We indexed all the document embeddings, that is the dialogues, and then we uh, retrieved multiple documents given a query, and then chose a document that appears at 20th or more place. That's just a simple heuristic I took. So basically we took hard negatives and also soft negatives, that is random documents, and used Cohere's classify API to train the embedding model. So this is the model that's been used for the entire product. So let me quickly show the demo for the same. So this is the platform. So let's say, for example, we have this query: how does blockchain solve real world problems? And let's say we want top 5 podcasts that answer this question. So these are the podcasts that's been written based on the embedding similarity. And the first one, so we see about the blockchain, so the podcast related to blockchain. And next we see cyber attacks, Silicon Valley. So for this project, we didn't really get quality podcast data set. We had to uh, stick to something that had only like around 100 or 120 podcasts. So yeah, so let's say we click this podcast. So now what we see here is the entire transcript of the podcast. So so we are assuming that user has no time to read all the podcasts, and he's trying to get all the information he can easily using this platform. So now we have the queries that has been generated for this podcast, and these are the queries that this podcast answers. So let's quickly search for the answer for the same query we just typed, that is how does it solve real world problems. And let's say we get top 5 dialogues that answer the query. So now what we see here is one of the ways how blockchain can solve real world problem, that is through disintermediation. Uh, so blockchain is trying to create value by using decentralization. So yeah, and here we see the span of the same answer. So here in this text, this line appears here. So these two sentences also appear here somewhere. We just need to highlight it, but we haven't done it. But what we see here are the spans which contain the answer. So we see how blockchain helped UN deliver their aid to Syria, and yeah, how it made trade finance. It can make trade finance simpler. We can also summarize this entire text here using this button here, and yeah, we get the summary of this passage. We see how blockchain can create value with disintermediation, and so this is the demo. And next steps would be to like integrate a way to share the podcast, or that is the important segments from the podcast. And finally, business model, we just have pay as you go option, monthly subscription, and ad supported premiums. So yeah, thanks for listening to us.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And I hear just some noise on the background, but still, I see the team is already here. Great, and we are ready to ask you questions. And let me start, and then somebody else will jump on. I want to ask you about the business value you see in your product and how do you see the applicability?
So the business value, we didn't really have much time to discuss about the business value. I feel like we spend more time discussing how our product should work and sorry. Uh, Sorry, is there a problem? Am I audible?
No, we can hear you. It's okay.
Yeah, we can, that's fine.
Okay, okay. Thanks. So yeah, as I mentioned, we didn't have much time to discuss the business model. So I feel like moving forward, we could like connect with very popular podcast companies like you have Spotify. They also host podcasts, and you can also partner with YouTube or something like that, and make sure that we provide this platform to them so that they can also benefit from the platform we've created, making it easier for people to search for podcasts and also for information within the podcast.
Yeah,
All
like
right,
my,
thank
my
you.
my thinking is that instantly, like you would be able to pull up the specific audio clip or the specific video clip of the podcast once you identify the slot, right?
Which yeah, it does specify the span of the answer, so we should be able to get the time stamp of the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my question. So are you taking also, are you recording the timestamp?
Currently we were able to find transcripts for each of the podcasts. So that did not have any timestamp information, but so for each dialogue, we noticed that we should be able to find the timestamp where it occurs. So when we find the span, we can also find the timestamp of the same.
Okay. And what was the how did you handle this situation to identify the speakers? Because did you do the transcript? Did you do the transcriptions in your software, or and if yes, how did you manage this process of determining who is the speaker?
Okay. So here what we do is we split the podcast into segments in such a way that we have only one speaker in each segment. So when we find an answer, we make sure that we know the speaker when we find the answer.
Okay, so that's super interesting because maybe just last point for me, like when you do a transcript, let's say from Google Meets or somewhere else, right? And that's
Hmm.
very clear, like because there's an audio source. But when you do a transcript using, let's say, an audio transcription model, it doesn't identify the person. So I'm asking, how
Exactly.
did you
Hmm.
technically know in the audio who is the speaker? Like I'm interested in that.
Uh, okay. We don't solve that problem here actually. So when we got the transcript, it was manually annotated. So we didn't have the problem here. Maybe going forward, we could like try to identify the speakers initially. So I don't know if it's possible, but maybe there's something out there which can differentiate between voices, and we can just name those voices, and then maybe that should work.
Yeah, for sure. There actually are systems that can identify the voice, and then you
Okay.
would just tag the speaker, and then in
Hmm.
all future podcasts where that speaker would appear, you would be able to attach the voice pattern to them. So that seems like a good idea. But that's from
Hmm.
my side. Other than that, I think very nice project. But I was wondering, how did you crack that? You didn't crack it yet,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's room to improve.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I can chime in as well. So really, really cool project. I think it's I have similar thoughts as in the case of the YouTube semantic search. I think podcasts is again one of these like really really interesting and growing archives of human knowledge and wisdom. We are listening to podcasts more and more. There are more and more podcasts being delivered. There are also these types of podcasts, I'm sure you're familiar with them, which are just like filled with gold nuggets, and you just want to be able to get back to them. So I love the application. I'm sure there's a lot of commercial potential for it, and I also love that you were adding those little additional features like being able to summarize a passage, working together with the text generation model to be able to make the knowledge that you can find in this podcast even more succinct. I'm curious, if you had one more week to work on this project, what would you prioritize to work on? How would you go about it?
Well, first things first, I will definitely make sure that the UI looks presentable. I feel like it wasn't that good. And secondly, uh, maybe I feel like only in the last minute I got this idea of generating queries from the passage itself and then training it on the same. So maybe if we had more time, we could have improved the quality of embeddings. But that's still, I feel like it's a great idea. It could be like scaled to different projects as well. Like initially, I had this idea where we could like use it to I feel like most documentations like Python packages or most such documentation, they don't have any semantic search within them. I feel like if we could like scrape those documentation and then index them, we could use the same method I used and then like create a platform to like semantically search within documentation as well. So uh, yeah, going forward, I feel like UI is a priority and then creating quality embeddings. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. In case we do not have any more questions, guys, from the call or from separate team, if you also have some questions to your, I wouldn't call it competitors, but still, if you have questions to another team, just feel free to ask. Okay. I see nobody wants to ask. Then I see the people in the chat just writing how well your project is, and somebody had the same idea but built different project, and they just excited of the work you have done during the hackathon. And for the next presentation, I'm inviting Summit team, and they had really amazing project for university students and professors. So let's look at their pitch.
Hello and welcome to Summit. Summit is a tool designed to help you find and understand scientific research on any topic. I'm Nick Morley, and Summit was built by myself and Konrad Zhezhnizhak from the Grounded AI team. Our goal is to bring the benefits of AI to people's work to help us achieve more. The problem we're trying to solve is how to provide more fluent access to information. Access to scientific information plays a vital role in informing decision-making and driving progress in many fields of work. Whether you're a researcher, a student, a professional, or simply looking to learn more about the world, better access to scientific information is a major advantage. However, finding and understanding research papers is a time-consuming and complex process. It's difficult to get an overview of the research landscape, and the chances of missing important information are high. That's where Summit comes in. Summit helps you find relevant research papers and get an overview of what the research says. Let's say I want to learn about the effects of sun on mood. Here we're using a semantic search approach, which means we're leveraging the meaning and context of the search query in order to provide more targeted and relevant results. The summary feature brings together information from the top most relevant papers to provide a concise overview of what the research says in relation to my query. It also includes references and links to the original papers so that the user can trace and verify the information. The topic map feature helps users understand the research landscape. Keywords and topics are grouped by color to show groups of ideas that are discussed often in relation to each other. Summit also highlights keywords in research papers. This guides the user's attention and helps them decide which papers to pursue in greater depth. The topic map also provides an interface to drill down into more specific areas. This is a feature we want to work on next. Some other ideas for future improvement include more advanced filtering and sorting options, and a greater degree of personalization, which tailors the summary to the individual based on their needs and background. For search, we implemented a database of PubMed abstracts and mapped them to Cohere embeddings for the relevance lookup. For the summarization component, we had to overcome some limitations of current language models. For example, the context length limitation and the ability to cite source material. In order to do this, we separated the summarization process into several steps. First, we built a method to extract the main points from each paper, and then a method to integrate these points into a final summary. For both of these, we used the Cohere generation API. This required curating examples to fine-tune the models. We also developed heuristics to help map the content from the final summary back to key points from the original papers. To build the topic map, we used the Cohere generation API to output a list of keywords for each document. We then analyzed co-occurrence of those keywords throughout the search results. We then applied a network clustering algorithm to delimit the topic areas. To expose it to users, we built a web app with a JavaScript front end and a Python backend. Summit has potential value for a wide range of users whose work relies on research papers, including academic institutions, research and development companies, consulting firms, think tanks, government agencies and policymakers, even journalists and media outlets. It distinguishes itself from competitor interfaces, such as those offered by PubMed itself or Semantic Scholar, in, first of all, the quality of search results, due to the reliance on state-of-the-art semantic search, but also the emphasis on features that allow the user to quickly get an overview of the research space on any topic. To make Summit accessible to as many users as possible, we plan to offer a limited freemium model with premium features available for a fee. Premium features may include unlimited searches, access to a broader and deeper analysis of the research space, the inclusion of full text in the analysis, whereas the free version is limited to abstracts, the ability to export the data in a variety of useful formats, making it easier for users to share and integrate the research into their own work, integration with other tools such as citation management or collaboration platforms, and indexing of custom datasets and in-house deployment. Our plan for Summit is to focus on providing users with a valuable and convenient research tool that helps them get the best information in the most understandable way.
And I really love the UI. And as well, it's very great that you already know your next steps and you did a great job on your business model as well on commercializing. And yeah, just if you have some words to start, feel free to do it. And who wants to go with the first question?
Yeah, I can start with a few additions. I mean, looking back at that presentation now, I can see that maybe a shortcoming of it was maybe even too broad a target user. You know, we listed quite a few different customer profiles there, and I think the next step for us, if we're serious about offering this, is to focus on more specific niches, and most importantly, to develop relationships with the actual people in those niches. So we've gone a bit further than what we presented there, and we're looking into niches including life sciences and think tanks, government policymakers. And some of our initial research suggests that these organizations carry out hundreds of literature reviews a year, spending 3 to 5 weeks on each. And if you look at the salary data, that quickly adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of research analyst time. And there are thousands of these companies. So thinking about the value of the tools that certainly large language models and the companies like Cohere are bringing to the engineers like ourselves, there's a huge value in this space, and that's something we're excited to as I say, connect with the people behind those more and understand exactly how it can help them, rather than a very broad product offering.
Thank you. All right, so who wants to go first? Sandra, Powell, right?
Yeah, I can go first. Congrats on the project. I think it's an incredible idea. I think we are long overdue when it comes to the tools that help us sort of move through the depth of the research available today. There are so many new papers coming every single day in so many different areas, in so many different languages, and just like being able to comprehend what's going on, being able to see the trends, connect the dots. I think we're long overdue when it comes to tools like this, and I think language models are extremely powerful tools to apply to this particular problem of sort of the comprehension of the information that is being processed in the research space. Question whether you're actually going to work on the project and how can we help you take it further?
Yeah, well, I introduced us as Grounded AI, and so we're a team with a name, and we're looking to build revolutionary tools in this space. So yeah, absolutely. If we can get the funding and the support that we need to get something off the ground, then we're passionate about this problem. So yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Nick,
Let's sorry, Pavel, just to follow up. Let's connect afterwards and see how we can help you take it further.
Exactly, Nick. I already sent you a private message. Allowed there, you're on a good track to build further. No question about it. So what I liked, and probably good feedback for every stream is, as you said, you narrowed down the problem and the initial user base. So that makes the design of the features and the UX and all of it kind of makes it more targeted, right? So I totally agree on the business side that you have thousands of NGOs, government organizations, else, basically doing literature review, doing research. What I'm really interested in is the multi-language modeling. And did you look at the Cohere kind of multi-language capacity? How did you adopt it? And how many languages do you support? How difficult would it be to kind of have this in, because this needs to be in French, German, obviously English, Italian, whatever other language. I'm just kind of really interested in the multi-language element of it.
Well, it's not something we've focused on during this prototype, but certainly if we can understand and validate that it's valuable, then yeah, rolling it out to other languages, making it accessible to as many people as possible is key. So totally agree.
Yeah, and I think we've seen with embedding search, especially that it is possible, right, to have the semantic search across multiple languages. So I think that's something that would be really easily extended here. But like Nick said, we during the POC we focused on just English documents, but that shouldn't stop us from adding other ones, and that should be also easy to filter on if you need to. Yeah, Nick, that's great work, awesome job. Like I really enjoyed this project a lot. Like looking back on my days of like writing my thesis, and like I wish I had something like that, where I can really easily have things out like that. I think this solves a lot of big challenges, like in terms of like the laborious work of like searching for the right papers that you want to cite for your thesis, and kind of like, yeah, because it's a long process, right, and arduous process. So like really, really great work, and the UI is really impressive. Yeah, I'm just interested to learn about like any potential challenges that you have faced during the hackathon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I think you used the word laborious there, and that's right on the money. Yeah, it's something that researchers have to do. So much process and spend a lot of energy to answer a question. But what we want to do is free up researchers to spend more time asking questions, right? They ask the right questions, and we use the machines to help answer them. So yeah, that's right. And yeah, challenges, there were a few. So I mentioned in the presentation that we had to string together a few different steps using embeddings and the generation, and that those API calls can stack up. You've got some complexity to manage there, and you've got performance to care about as well when you start doing those multiple calls. So that's some of the challenges we faced. And in terms of really getting the output that we wanted in terms of summarization and actually citing the relevant sources, it required a bit of creating a training set, let's say. So a bit of labor to do the fine tuning and so on. So as programmers, we love to just create, but actually there's just sort of a lot of quality control work to be done and making sure the stuff you read is actually accurate. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges, I think, in this area. Conrad, I've probably missed loads. What do you think?
No, I mean, there was a lot of like just MLOps issues, right? Like obviously ingesting a few 100,000 papers to the embedding to do the accurate searches took a bit of time, and we did like a few ones in parallel. So like as we stacked up with the UI, we were also in the background processing more and more papers. So obviously that would be easier to do with like a bigger data pipeline. Yeah, but I think the main time we spent was actually on the prompt engineering, right, Nick, and like getting the kind of look and feel the way we want it as well. So I think that was the ending of the hackathon.
So thank you so much, Stan. Great work, Nick and Conrad. Be really interested, as Paolo mentioned, like to see how this can grow. And with multilingual in play, like this can open up many doors for other researchers from other parts of the world with their own native language as well. So yeah, great work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And there's a question from the chat. Did you guys consider open source free research papers versus paid research papers, and kind of where the majority of the market is, and how does the system access paid, paywall research? Is there any thought put into this? I have a solution, like I think all of us have some sort of a solution in our head, but I'm interested in yours.
Well, certainly for the work we've done so far, we've focused all on publicly available work because it's not only, great, it's easy. Dealing with paywalls and is actually just so difficult to manage. And but if there's valuable information behind those paywalls, we're going to have to integrate that somehow. If those users have paid subscriptions to these places and they're morally in a place where that's what they want to do, then I don't think we should be making any judgments to get in their way. We should be getting out of the way and letting people deal directly with the information. So not something we've thought a lot about, but certainly so far just public information. Conrad, any thought about that anymore?
For a lot of papers, there is the abstract is still available, right? And so we could leverage that for the search a lot of times. That helps already to find the right papers. Then unfortunately, sometimes maybe the amount of information you can get from the citation will not be as accurate as if you have a full document. But that's something that we could potentially, like Nick said, integrate with those journals that potentially have a paywall or an integration that we could you can subscribe to as a user.
So I think all of those are correct. My suggestion is, because I've dealt with this before, there are specific clustering systems for research papers analysis. So you have like 31, 35, 40 systems clustered, and that's how universities buy access to these clusters. So they don't go one by one. So the natural thing is to go into one of these clusters, reach a deal with them, create the. So that becomes like you do it once, and then you can basically cover the market. Just a suggestion there. We can talk about it offline, because I think it's an interesting avenue that you guys. Nice.
All right, there is one more question in the chat. Pavel just mentioned the question we had before regarding paid researches, and I have one more from the guy in the chat. They are asking about Zeta Alpha research paper search. Are you familiar with this software, guys? It's kind of competitive to you. Did you check the competition in the market, and maybe you have some tips that in where you're better than they are?
Well, I couldn't answer that question honestly without doing a bit more research. So, Conrad, have you heard? Are you familiar?
Not about Zeta Alpha, but we have been aware of other ones like Perplexity AI is one that we've seen before. There's also what's it called? The other one was common.
There are a
Yeah, anyway.
bunch of tools which
Yeah.
we found which were helping with literature review, but dealing with it in quite a different way. It sounds like this might be more specifically right in our niche, if I'm understanding you correctly. So we would need to have a look at that. But welcome the competition.
Yeah, and one thing we really focused on is the kind of presentation as well. So as you could see with the keyword graph, the highlighting, and also some other features that we thought like to be able to maybe have saved library of your relevant documents that you've already found. So to kind of further make the summaries even more accurate to your specific question. These are some of the kind of ideas that we had to kind of manage your, I guess, research life cycle, so to speak.
I'd love to see what they're doing in terms of visualization, because as we showed some work there, and I think this is, we believe this is very underutilized. And certainly the language models that Cohere are providing, for example, are opening up this door because we can process the data into a shape that's amenable to these visualization structures. I think there's going to be a huge opportunity there, and I'm seeing very little competition in that space. So it'd be great to see if they've done anything there.
Yeah, and especially when you then you overlap the real time versus predefined analytics, right? Because what the Cohere foundational model allows you to create visual graphs in real time based on a snap of the search that has been done literally in that second, right? So the visualization of that data graph would happen in real time, right? It's not a predefined visualization. So that's a huge difference between using real-time search via a foundational model versus overlaying analytics into research clusters. So that's, I think, a huge difference that you would be able to explore. But I think I'm talking too much on this, so let's move on.
Yeah, we really love your approach to competition as well. And thank you so much for this presentation. And I'm happy to invite to announce actually the presentation of the next team, which is Founded Translation. And unfortunately, guys from the team can't join us for the stream today for Q&A session, but still, as they was chosen as one of the best projects, so we would be happy to check their pitch.
Sorry,
and welcome to the stage. All right, you managed to join us. Cool. Then we will have one more Q&A session with them. Okay, welcome to the stage with your pitch.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Hi, my name is James Liu.
I'm Tim.
I'm Gavin Wong.
And we are Rat Labs, and we would like to introduce our project, Found in Translation, an intelligent bot for navigating multi- or monolingual messaging. The problem.
So first off, let us go over the problem that we are trying to solve. We've identified two problems, in fact, when it comes to chat services. First, with large communication platforms such as Slack or Discord, it becomes difficult to moderate and keep track of communications. And particularly, finding relevant messages becomes a tedious task due to poor search functionalities, such as being unable to find results worded slightly differently, or being unable to find results that have the same meaning but are in different languages. Our second problem is that we wish to identify specific users who may be more toxic, allowing chat moderators to have more tools at their disposal to moderate in large groups.
So our solution. To solve this, we created Found in Translation, also known as FIT. Current search features in messaging services are limited to lexical comparison. In order to find relevant messages, you must already know keywords in those messages. In comparison, FIT allows users to query for information by meaning instead by using semantic search. Additionally, it also allows for multilingual semantic search, meaning users can query in their most familiar language and receive relevant results from other languages as well. A final feature is that FIT has sentiment analysis, which returns to users a breakdown of the sentiments within the chat. So how it works, quick system overview, Tim?
Right. So our bot was built using the Slack Bolt API. What it does is it handles our commands and does some message processing, returning information and sending information to the Rat Labs API. More on that, James knows.
So we also have a custom Flask API that the bot communicates to. This bot interfaces with the Cohere models. The two models we have are, one is a multilingual embedding model for semantic search, which we then use the Pinecone API to do dot product similarity search on to find relevant messages. We also have a classification model trained using Cohere's API. in the Google Go Emotions dataset for sentiment analysis. So a quick demo breakdown. We have 4 features: monolingual intelligent search, multilingual, overall sentiment analysis, and individual sentiment analysis. So first things first, let's say I want to search for food. Using our smart search, we would do smart search. I want 5 results. Oh, I guess I only want 2 results. I search up. Now, while that loads, I can show you that if I search up food by itself on Slack's built-in search, we get nothing. But our Fit bot shows us 2 messages around food. If we can actually go to them and see where they are in the chat. And we can see this as well with, we do something such as smart search by for deadline. You can see that we have no results. Oops. No results here, but our bot gives us a few. It also works in other languages. For example, if I smart search for budget, our results will actually contain messages that aren't in English. For example, this one's in Chinese, which I will show you here, but this translates straight to something about the budget. Additionally, we can also search in other languages. For example, if I want to search for a deadline in Chinese, I can actually do that. And it will give me messages that relate to the deadline in English with a Chinese search result, which a Chinese search query. And we can see that if we search this in the normal Slack search, we get no results. Cool. We can also run a sentiment analysis. So we can just do sentiment, and we can run this on the entire chat. And while we're running this, I just like to point out that we can also do this for individual users. And it'll give us a breakdown of the chats in our the sentiments in our actual chat. So now moving on to our business model. Tim?
Right. So we've identified 2 potential revenue streams: a business to business model and a business to consumer model. So for business to business, we are essentially just abstracting the logic and selling the implementation directly to messaging services. So think like Slack, Discord, Teams, or anything that requires moderation. For the business to consumer model, we are selling access to the app to server owners or moderators at a subscription rate. So the subscription rate will have different tiers depending on the availability and the amount of access that they have. Some things to note is that we do have a little overhead. We do require some servers to keep our bot and API running, but that is pretty much the extent of it.
All right, and then going forward, our limitations and future features.
Right. So for our current limitation, the most glaring is that our current model for sentiment wasn't really built for other languages aside from English. We want to address that in the coming future by allowing customer feedback, which will implement a better data filtering.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's the end of our presentation. We hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. And once again, thank you all for hosting this amazing hackathon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot for the presentation. Just really amazing project, a small revolution in the world of international teams communication. Really great idea. Who wants to start with their question to the team?
I want to go first now. I really want to go first now. So Conrad, Nick, looking a little bit stressed right now over, and then the rest of the team. So first of all, obviously, very advanced project. Yeah, very well executed. Very, very competitive. That's what I wanted to say. So great job. Love the multimodal approach. Love the ready-made next level stuff. Can you tell me, how did you pull all of this off in 7 days? What was the process? How much sleep was involved? How little? And are you guys sitting in one room? Like maybe are you kind of all sitting in a location? Like how did you meet each other? How did you connect? How did that happen?
Yeah, of course. So we're actually, one of our team members, Tim, can't make it right now because he's actually going back to college, but we're all college sophomores, and 2 of us are actually roommates. He's down here. So 2 of us are actually roommates, and one of us, Tim, is a friend from high school. So that's how we met, and we were doing this project during break. So during break, we had nothing else to do. School was over, So we could spend a lot of time working on this project and seeing how all the technology worked. And so I think if we had to start from scratch with like no knowledge of web development, we wouldn't have been able to finish. But we got lucky because both me and Tim and Gavin were interning last semester, and that's where we learned a lot about these web technologies, more specifically Slack bots. So for my internship, I actually had to implement a Slack bot. So with familiarity with that API and those technologies, we actually were able to handle we were able to get a lot of stuff that wasn't the AI related stuff. So we focus a lot on how to actually best use the AI technology without having to spend a lot of time focusing on how to implement the technology itself. I mean, the web development technology for the Slack bot. Yeah, it was still a lot of work. We learned a lot of new technologies to try things like for the demo we had our bot and API hosted in a Docker container on Azure cloud instances, and that was a whole new technology to learn, and we really wanted to try something new following that. And yeah, for how we like decided on this topic or this problem, we were first introduced to semantic search through the kickoff, and we were just thinking, what's an area that could use a smarter search function, and more importantly, is an intersection of all these different cultures and languages. And we realized through our experience that big chat platforms like Discord and Slack, like in the modern world, have grown to include a lot of people from a lot of different countries and different languages. So because those chat platforms have so much information going through them now for communication, we realized that this would be a really cool place to try and use semantic search with multilingual functionalities.
Great, really good answer. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I want to add to the amazement that you pulled this off within the hackathon timeframe. It's a very impressive demo and a very mature demo, one of the most mature ones that I have seen coming out of the hackathon. I love that you use the multilingual model. I love that you use Slack, a tool that I guess all of us are very familiar with and know the limitations of, especially when you're trying to dig something out of the history of it. I think it's super practical, and I would love to support you in developing it further and sort of showcasing it. I think it also shows really nicely the potential for multilingual text understanding model. And so, yeah, if there's anything we can help with, if you continue to work on this project in your journey ahead, let's connect and let's make it happen.
Of course, that'd be great. We were actually thinking about trying to get the bot hosted on the Slack app directory as like a next step. So if you could help with that would be amazing. If you could help with that and everything.
Awesome. Yeah, let's totally talk about the next steps and how we can introduce it to the bigger number of users.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
So James, yeah, you got a similar to all the other panelists. Everybody should have received a private message with an invitation for next steps via Discord. So I'll talk about that once we do the winning announcement. I'll tell everybody what's happening, but everybody, Nick, James, previous teams, everybody got a private message as well.
All right.
All right. Yes, I do have a question from the chat. Let me ask you. It's regarding limitation. I also had this question in mind when I was watching to your presentation. And how do you plan to deal with actually closed channels, private channels on Slack and on Discord as well? And also Slack has the thing with limit. So if you have a premium model, version of Slack, some of messages will be deleted in some period of time. So how do you plan to deal with this? And is it working only for open channels for everyone?
Of course. So at the moment, the Slack bot works by using the Slack API to grab messages from all the channels that it's in. So currently it can't read in private channels because the Slack bot isn't invited in those. I think for I think it's possible for private channels you can actually manually add the bot, and once you manually add the bot, then you can actually read in there. But for privacy issues, we have to rely on the user to grant permissions to the bot first. So it's possible, but it just depends on the user in that case, if they want the bot to have that power or not.
We can also use like roles like stored within like the bot itself to determine like which users can access messages from which certain channels, and then we can filter using the bot to return searches that way.
Yeah.
Great answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Does anybody also want to ask? Maybe guys from different teams as well have some questions.
Let's not have that. Let's move.
All right.
No more from the judges. No more questions from the chat. I think we'll move into private voting, and we're winners, right, Alicia?
Sure. Okay. Then we just had all four best teams that we had on this hackathon, and we need to go for 10-15 minutes call to discuss all your pitches and to choose the winner. And we'll be happy to have you here in 15 minutes to announce the winner. And the request for all teams, please don't leave the Discord. Just go to open voice channel, whatever you want. So we'll be able to jump you into this call right after we have a final decision. All right, thank you so much, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back. It was really short pause for us to discuss the winner, but still it was really complicated to find the best because during the hackathon we have like 147 teams, and out of all this team that was working during the hackathon, we chose 4 just the best. And now I'm really excited to share, just excited to give the word to Pavel to tell his opinion, his comment on each team project. And after that, we'll move on to the winner announcement. And before we'll go to Pavel, I just want to invite everybody invite everybody to the hackathon we will have in 2 weeks, which is one more Cohere hackathon. So if you still have some ideas of the project and you didn't implement it, or you just get inspired during this stream, just go and register and start your building with Cohere and all Cohere models during this hackathon in 2 weeks. Pavel, are you ready to comment on all the team's project? Great.
Yes. So, first of all, if you made it this far into the stream, you're already a winner in my book, for sure. I know we've been quite long, but very importantly, if you completed it and you successfully created a piece of software, you are a winner already. So that's very clear from in my book. So just a few comments from my side. So Semantic, really great job for this team in terms of the idea, taking the YouTube videos, clustering them, and the UX, really good job, really smooth, yeah, really well, and a great experience for the user, which we believe that layer, the UX layer, will determine the winners in terms of the foundational models being monitored, right? So the quality of your UX will determine whether people will want to pay you or not, right? So I think people will want to pay for this. I know I want to use it. I'm happy to pay for it. So I think a lot of people will do the same. In terms of pod search, so here I think really great idea being able to identify the speakers and then pulling up video snippets so connecting multiple multimedia experiences, right? Because people read, people search away, but they also want to hear and see and identify what they're doing. And in general, very good work and high potential to grow that project. Summit, I must say, probably the best UX. Yeah, the simplest, the cleanest, the smoothest, the very clearly defined business model, the definition of the user and next steps. Super high quality of presentation. So I think you, as the other teams, but you're very close to kind of going further and productizing Summit and making it into something that people love to use, and actually millions of people will be able to. But it's the same with pod search, and it's the same with Semantic. So and now found in translation. So definitely the best name, right? Because lost in translation. So you guys win on the name today. But what we really liked is the multimodal, which was, by the way, one of, and obviously the integration. So you came with knowledge of using other systems like Slack, and you use that knowledge to create something very, which is an instant plugin, and there's an instant business model. The degree of completion and also very high. So, but also the technical efficiency here, right, is impressive. It's just the technical efficiency, and the demo was so impressive, deployed over Slack. So I think we were very surprised, and I would say amazed that things can be achieved in such a short time frame. The product is effectively production grade in terms of front end and experience. Back end, I have no idea. It might just be you and go. You can probably tell us later. Okay, so those are my 2 cents.
Thank you, Paul, for all the comments. And actually, we was waiting for a really long time to hear that. And I'm just leaving the stage for Sandra to finally announce the winner. So everybody now will know who will be the best, who will be marketed the best of this hackathon. Sandra,
All
the stage is yours.
right. All right, let's do this. So thanks so much for sticking around for so long. Yeah, so we were pretty anonymous, I guess, in the voting, although I must admit it's been a while since the hackathon project reached this level of maturity and presentation delivery and sort of the business potential. Super impressed. Kudos to all of you. I want to let you know that I mean it when I mention that we are ready to support you further on your journey to build these projects outside of the hackathon scope. So please connect with me or Roy on this, and let's find a way to help you out further on your journey. Having said that, we found that two of the projects tonight particularly stole our hearts. We decided to give an honorary mention to one of the projects. We were supposed to choose just one winner, but it was pretty challenging. So an honorary mention goes to the Summit. Loved your UI, UX, loved your delivery, huge business potential. Please keep working on your project. Congrats to you. I think the world will get so much value out of your application, and I cannot wait to sort of start sharing it with my more research nerd-oriented friends so that they can start using it. And yeah, finally, our winner of tonight is Found in Translation. You guys completely smashed it today in terms of starting from the name, going to your initial branding, your presentation, the idea, the sort of the potential for it, the level of completion, the deployment on Slack. Oh my God, what can you guys not do within a matter of a week? Insane effort, insane achievement. And again, love to work with you on how to take this further. Thank you so much for using the multilingual text understanding model. We're super excited to see one of the very first demos on such a high level, and we'll definitely use it to showcase the power of Cohere API and how much you can achieve with it within a number of days. Thank you so much for playing with it, and yeah, I am super impressed by all the projects, and congratulations to especially Found in Translation tonight.
Huge congrats to everybody, and I definitely want to give the stage for people who won the hackathon. So, Found in Translation, do you have something to tell us?
I guess just thank you so much to Cohere, new native LabLab AI for giving us the opportunity to get involved with this technology. I know for most of our group, it was our first time working with this like AI technology, and thanks to Cohere for making it so accessible and allowing us to actually learn more about it in a really fun and easy way. And thank you to LabLab AI and the new native group for setting all this up. It's been a great experience, and thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much for joining from our. Everybody here, all the teams are invited to join our Slingshot project. So if you have not, it's actually announced in our general channel on Discord. Anybody hasn't seen it yet, we are launching Slingshot. Slingshot will help people go from the prototype to MVP, provide you with support, resources, partners such as Cohere, and effectively this program will help you if you want to continue on your journey and build the project further and release the product. So all you need to do is fill out the form, and we will call with you where we will tell you details. So cordially, you are all invited. participated in a hackathon, submitted a project successfully, is invited. Right now we're running beta, so we'll select just a few teams, and in effectively just a few weeks you will be able to put on the market. So that's something for everybody to consider. If you haven't done that yet, please do it. There's very little because the call is happening, and then obviously we can continue later on. So yeah, that's from us. We're very excited to launch and to invite everybody to participate. We are very thankful to Cohere for not only developing the technology, but also working with us on bringing it closer to people that want to use it, passionate about it, and that want to create extraordinary software based on this. For me, it's always extraordinary to see in just a few days something that is created where there was literally nothing before, right? So none of these solutions existed. They were not even in the ideation. And then a few days later, we have products, we have services, we have solutions that people can now use. So you are creating so much value for other people. And I think it's high time that you start to bring that. Please join Slingshot and join LabLab and NewNative and Cohere in bringing these products to the market. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. And just don't forget that you wanted to build your project when you still have an idea to develop or just want to try your skills at the hackathon. In 2 weeks, we'll have one more Cohere hackathon where you can use 3 of Cohere models, which is embed, classify, and generate, and as well as multilingual semantic search model. So there is just like huge applicability, and you can build really great project in the field you're expert in, or you just wanted to start to work with this field. So just don't forget to join, to check lablab.ea website, and there is all the events we'll have available there. Thank you everybody for the stream, and for all finalists, you are already the winners. And Pavel, do you want to add something?
No,
so you're on mute.
Sorry, I just I just wanted to say one thing. So in the comment section on Twitch, a lot were saying, talking about their projects, and you know, if your project has not today or wasn't selected finalist, you can attend the next hackathon and build something even more impressive, get more team members, create something that is that you are thinking that could be even better. And there's always a become final, so there is no opportunity lost. So please join us again.
Yes, join us again, please. And thank you for everybody to join us today's stream. And see you later, guys. See you in the next hackathons.